Hey guys, what's going on? Nananki here, bringing you another Team Fortress 2 gameplay commentary. Today I am going to be playing with and talking about the new soldier weapons. Well, the parachute can be used by either the Demoman or the soldier, but the new weapon, the airstrike, is of course soldier exclusive. Who else is going to have a rocket launcher? Base jumper is the parachute. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's a parachute, slows you down, you can control yourself in the air. In fact, to a great degree. And the airstrike is a rocket launcher with a 25% damage penalty, minus 25% clip size, so 3 instead of 4 rockets, at least off the bat. But every kill you get adds 1 more round to the clip, and they don't go away, ever. It's like the speed bonus that you get from the Islander, and health bonus as well. Every head you collect just stays with you. And you can accumulate a maximum clip size of 8, and the airstrike also fires a lot faster when you are rocket jumping. In fact, you can unload 8 rockets in just about 2 seconds flat, which, even taking into account the blast radius penalty and the damage penalty, will kill pretty much anything. In fact, it's more likely to kill a whole group of anything. Of course, this weapon was just added yesterday, along with the other changes that came with the Love and War update. One of the things they changed was stickies now take 2 seconds to ramp up to their full damage after arming, which they take a second to arm in the first place, so I'm thinking that means 3 seconds after they're fired they do regular damage, which to me says that Valve does not want Demomen utilizing corners to bombard groups of people. Meanwhile, they add a weapon for Soldier that allows him to easily bombard groups of people. I don't really get the inconsistency of it all, but hey, new weapons, that's cool, right? It's been a while, that's for sure. One of my favorite aspects about Team Fortress 2 is it is a more or less balanced game. The vanilla or stock weapons are at least as good as any of the alternatives, generally speaking. Valve does tend to get around to fixing problems or imbalances, even if it takes them a couple years sometimes. So I have high hopes that they will address a couple things with the new parachute in particular that I feel like is just a little bit overpowered. For example, the redeployment time on the parachute is non-existent. You can deploy it and undeploy it as often as you like. You can change directions in air 90 degrees, 180 degrees, pretty much as easily as you could if you had no clip on. It's maybe not quite that fast, but it's close, and you have as much forward velocity sometimes as a scout. In my opinion, that's just a little bit too much. I feel like you should either have a redeployment delay, or maybe you should fall a little bit faster than a feather, or maybe you should be marked for death when you're utilizing the thing, or maybe you shouldn't be able to control your direction as if you had a hang glider on your back and not a parachute. Just any of those things really would balance it, in my opinion. Right now, it just feels too strong to me. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not saying the thing isn't fun. It's a lot of fun. It just doesn't seem to be perfectly balanced right now. The airstrike, on the other hand, I feel like is pretty balanced because of the reduction of damage, the reduction of blast radius. You have to hit enemies directly with it if you want to get a good chunk of damage applied, and that's more or less fair. I think having 8 rounds in the clip permanently is maybe a little bit much, and the new taunts obviously are completely bug-free. You know, Valve, it never makes mistakes. Everything is intentional. Everything. Being the high five glitch still existing. Apparently also now there's a conga glitch. I didn't manage to catch that recorded, but I had a couple people tell me they saw people doing the conga permanently and still firing their weapons. This weapon is excellent for, like, picking a medic, for example, because you can unload your rockets so quickly, there's basically no time to react. You know, is that a good thing? It's a good thing if you're using this weapon. It's a bad thing if you're a medic. And again, if the parachute didn't hang you up in the air forever, it would actually be a little bit more balanced, but used in conjunction with the parachute, especially if you manage to acquire the full 8-round clip, you're basically guaranteed to kill anything. Fully overhealed heavy with a medic, doesn't matter. You know, if you don't rocket jump though, you do have the normal fire rate, and if you're getting attacked from the back there, you'll die easily enough because you're going to be a fairly stationary target. You float at like feather speed. You should have a much larger parachute, I feel like, the model at least. Maybe color it brightly, because for as slow as you're falling, that thing looks like a pillowcase. And to actually fall that slow, you would need like a full-size parachute. And the controllability of the thing makes me think you should have a hang glider, not a parachute. But again, that's hopefully something that they'll moderate somewhat. Like I said, there's a lot of ways they could change the parachute to make it a little bit more fair. But see there, if you don't hit directly, the splash damage is pretty inconsequential. It's kind of interesting, too, that the parachute is not a secondary slot item for the Demoman. It's the primary slot item. So you still have your stickies, and you get a parachute as well. But once you've got even 2 kills in the thing, and you've got a 5-round clip, 5 rockets, even poorly aimed, are pretty much going to kill just about whatever. And even if you're just on the ground shooting the thing, having a clip that never runs out is pretty advantageous. Of course, once you start acquiring some kills, you are going to be tempted to try to preserve your life for as long as possible. At least I am. So I run off there to get some health, and yeah, you see how little that parachute is? Like, yeah, I'm not buying it. Not at all. And once you have 5 kills, then you do have the maximum clip size of 8, and at that point you can really kill pretty much anything that is in front of you, and all you need is about 10 feet of vertical height to work with because you float so slowly, and the entire clip can be fired in 2 seconds. With the sole exception of very short ceilings, you can take advantage of this thing anywhere. There's not a map that exists that doesn't have plenty of places that you could utilize the parachute to unload 8 rockets in 2 seconds. And I don't think you could heal a sentry gun through that. Of course, if you're trying to shoot from the ground and you're trying to shoot a sentry, the reduced damage is going to make it a little bit easier for the NG to tank that damage. You know, just keep wailing away with his wrench. As a matter of fact, the end of Upward is a fairly confined area, which although it has plenty of space to take advantage of the parachute, if you've got an NG nest built up, you don't have anywhere to rocket jump from. All of the windows and whatnot can be covered by a couple of sentry guns, and then you've got to try to fire from a stationary on-the-ground location, and the reduced damage will actually come into play. When it comes to burst damage, though, I can't think of a more powerful weapon than this. The Beggar's Bazooka is pretty strong when it comes to burst damage, but 8 rockets in 2 seconds, nothing is topping that. And as you saw there, it doesn't have to be your explosion that knocks you up in the air to enable the rapid fire of this weapon, just like the Market Gardener. Any explosive that knocks you up in the air counts as an explosive jump. So in combat with other soldiers or demo or whatever, if you get popped up in the air, suddenly they have to deal with you unloading your whole clip into their face. If you can get those on target, I don't think you could possibly heal a level 3 sentry through that barrage, though I have yet to test it thoroughly or be on the receiving end of it. That's my suspicion. So completely unfounded speculation on my part, but yeah, my initial impressions of this thing are that it is very powerful once you build up your clip size, especially if you have a medic to back you up. Soldier, of course, has the second highest health in the game behind the heavy. I think it might actually be worth it to have a minus 25 health penalty for equipping the airstrike, because like the Islander, you get so much more power if you can get a bunch of kills. Starting out at a reduced level of strength is not inappropriate, and having the penalty be a single round out of the clip is really not that big of a penalty, and it's very easy to overcome, especially, like I said, if you have a medic healing you. And another thing that occurred to me just now is it might also be appropriate that maybe the rapid fire rate of this weapon shouldn't be enabled until you've been airborne for 1 second. That way, just getting popped up in a hallway wouldn't allow you to instantly unload all of your rockets into the face of whoever's fighting you. The controllability of the parachute, like I said, is just a little bit over the top, in my opinion, and the instantaneousness of the clip emptying with this rocket is the other thing that I consider just a little bit too much. Either make the clip maximum 5 or 6, that would be fine. 5 rockets even, you know, unloaded in under 2 seconds is plenty. I think 8 is just overkill. I think the developers were having too much fun with this thing and just left it in an overpowered state without, I don't know, considering the implications perhaps. I mean, the internal testing at Valve, I'm sure they do it, but I think maybe they were more hung up on how much fun it was rather than balance issues. I don't know. I'm, again, pure speculation. I don't want to sound like I'm complaining about getting new weapons, because I'm deliriously happy that they're still updating TF2 in a serious manner and giving us large content updates, but I would be equally pleased to see them maintaining the balance that has made this game a staple of my online life for the last 5+ years. I mean, this came out in like 2007. I've been, yeah, so it's longer than that, 7 years. Yeah, it's been a long time. And on that note, I can't believe they're just now getting around to nerfing stickies again. I felt like making the arm time a full second was appropriate because, you know, okay, I can lead my targets, I can accommodate that, but just an outright damage nerf, especially a 2-second ramp-up time to have their normal damage output, I feel like it'll have the unintended consequence of encouraging new players to not use the stickies in direct combat and instead just spam grenades, and that's something I don't want to see any more of, frankly, is grenade spam rolling around. The only tiny upside I can see to this for Demoman is that now if you want to sticky jump with the conventional stickies, if you don't leave them sitting on the ground for too long at least, you will be doing a little bit less self-damage to yourself. I don't know if that'll affect how far you fly or not, but even if it does, with 2 stickies and proper distance, you can pretty well fly to any point that you want to, so that's not too big a deal. Other than that, though, it is just a pure nerf for Demoman. If you're trying to take out a sentry gun, for example, you can't just pop 2-3 stickies next to it and then immediately detonate them. You're going to have to wait a good 2 count, which means that if there's any class there that has a weapon that can destroy stickies or a pyro that can blow them away, it gives them more time to react, and you're gonna have to use more stickies to get the job done. At this point, I would not be surprised to see Valve take some of the rounds out of the gun and give us a sticky launcher that only has 6 shots, because it seems like they really don't like the stickies. They keep slowly making them worse. And other than just outright damage reduction, I don't really see what else they could do to it other than reduce the clip size or increase the reload speed. Or I should say, time required to reload. I can see that they want to encourage people to go for direct hits with the grenade launcher, but like I said, if you're new to the game, if you're not terribly good at leading your targets with grenades, I think it's just going to encourage you to spam more grenades because sticky spam is going to be less effective. And when it comes to denying the advance of an enemy around a corner, sticky spam really did pretty much preclude the possibility of walking through a wall of explosions. Now if you see a Demoman who is just in the process of putting stickies down, they're not already sitting there, you can kind of run through it with a degree of impunity that you absolutely couldn't before. And is that a good thing? Maybe, I don't know, it's a balance thing, and I'm cool with balance things. It's just at the same time they give Soldier a rocket launcher with an 8-round clip that can empty in 2 seconds. I know I'm harping on this, but it really boggles my mind that they would go one way with Demoman balance and the complete opposite direction with Soldier. It just doesn't jive in my head, and that's why I keep bringing it up, I think. But that'll be the last I have to say on the subject of balance issues that are in desperate need of addressing, in my personal opinion. What else are you here for if not my personal opinion? Commentary on what's happening in real time? You know, that's something I can do. Now that you can hang in the air forever with the parachute, you can get that downward angle with the rockets a little bit easier. I've never been the best soldier. I've always kind of had the inclination to hang on to health. But since this rocket launcher does less damage, you have more once you get up in the air. I love those two, just completely obliterated each other. Didn't even notice my presence. I've never been able to just fly around maps with the rocket launcher, or rocket jumper for that matter, the way some people are capable of. I've never tried to practice that particular skill. It's just never been something that super appealed to me as something to focus on. Same way I don't really spend much time playing sniper. Yes, getting headshots is tremendously effective. Yes, it's something I should probably be better at. It just doesn't appeal to me. The in-your-face combat of demo and heavy and trying to time compression blast with pyro, that's more my speed, and that's one of the things, again, that I love so much about TF2, is there's really something for everyone. No matter what your playstyle, no matter what your skill set, there is a class and weapon combination that is going to maximize your efficiency while minimizing your vulnerability. And when it comes to Soldier, to be perfectly honest, this weapon, the airstrike, along with the base jumper, suits me pretty well because you can now fly around, and even if they make some adjustments to it, like I've been encouraging them to do in the course of this video, like as if they're going to see my stuff, I still think it'll be tremendously effective for people like me who are not tremendously effective at rocket jumping, because it gives you more time to maintain that downward angle that is so advantageous for shooting people on the ground, because you're gonna, even if you miss them by a hair, you're still gonna hit them with the blast radius, and having 8 rockets, or even if they reduce it to like 5, which I think would be completely acceptable, maybe 2 kills per additional rocket in the clip as opposed to 1. There's another way they could just make it a little bit more even, because getting a couple quick kills and then immediately having access to like a 6 rocket bombardment is just a bit much. I'm again talking about ways they could balance this, but it's just stuff that keeps popping into my head while I watch myself play these rounds. Things that would not change dramatically the method of using the weapon, things that wouldn't change dramatically how effective the weapon was, things that would just make it a little bit more even. Because at the end of the day, I do think that balance is more important than pretty much anything else when it comes to keeping the game fun and keeping it fair, because games that don't feel fair aren't fun. I will also say, on the topic of things that aren't fun, it's, how to be gentle about this. Conga dancing is all well and good after the round, before the round, for a few seconds of the round, when the entire match degenerates into a massive conga line, and you've got, for example, one team just congaing around and the other team actually playing, and you join a server with the intent of actually playing Team Fortress 2, you can't. You just gotta go find a new server, because you've got a team full of people who aren't actually interested in playing Team Fortress 2. They're just interested in congaing. And I don't want to sound like a party pooper, because that's kind of how it comes off, but let's just be honest. I mean, the Team Fortress 2 is fun because it's a Team Fortress 2. There's an objective to the game. You know, push the cart. Conga dance is not the objective. It's a nice aside, but when it becomes the all-encompassing focus of things, for example, right now, I know there's a couple people on the red team off to my left, you'll see in just a second, rather than trying to defend the final point, they are in fact conga dancing. You know, if there's a majority of people on that team who actually want to play the game, and they're forced by their comrades to have to just lose because they don't have people playing, you know, if they were sitting in spawn not moving, they'd be kicked for being AFK. But conga dancing is apparently acceptable because it's funny. And I understand it's new, and it's day one of this thing, and so of course there's going to be a lot of people doing it while it's new, and it's going to settle down over time, and I understand the argument, let people have their fun, but it really did annoy the hell out of me to join a couple different servers in a row where the vast majority of one team or the other was not actually playing the game, they're just dancing. If you're subscribed to me, it's a pretty good bet that you're also subscribed to Star, because he's hilarious and amazing. And I liked his take on things pretty much, that this is not TF2 anymore when it's a giant conga dance. You're not playing Team Fortress 2, you're playing Conga Dance Fortress 2. And that is not the game that I generally want to play when I join a server. I actually would find it thoroughly appropriate for there to be servers called Conga, like as game type. Instead of, you know, King of the Hill or Payload, there should be Conga servers, explicitly for the purpose of dancing around. And, you know, I don't really know what else you do after that. You just dance around. I don't see how that holds anyone's interest for more than a minute. After about a minute of that, it's like, all right, let's play a game. Let's have some combat. Let's have some difficulty. That's pretty much my 2 cents on the subject. I will be happy, and you can count me amongst the party poopers who will be happy when the conga craze quiets down a little bit and people aren't quite so emphatic about doing nothing but conga dancing to the exclusion of actually playing the game. Luckily enough for me, and the purposes of making this video, I was able to find a server on which almost everyone was trying to play the objective. I have said it before, the majority of the time I get into TF2, I'm on my own little mission. Like, I feel like playing a particular class, regardless of maybe how many spies there are. You know, I'll be the 4th spy because I already tried 3 different servers, and every server I go to is full of spies, and I just want to backstab people. And I get it, you know, I just want a conga dance. To hell with what the team wants and what other people expect. One thing I will say, just right there, I've got the full clip size with the airstrike at this point, and I have the inclination to aim into the middle of groups rather than aiming at individuals. And it doesn't work too well because people tend to just split away from your rockets. Like right there, I thought the Pyro was going to chase the medic. Apparently the Pyro was either unaware of the sentry or thought he could charge straight into it. Under either case, whatever the case may be, it's better to aim at your target with this gun than trying to pick where they're gonna go, because you got so many rockets, and I should have been dead there. I don't know. I think my head got caught on the ceiling when the Pyro tried to air blast, and was more concerned with trying to compression blast rockets than he was with actually burning me to death, because if he had just laid on WM1, I'd have been dead. But I can't really blame him on the same token, because this thing fires so many rockets so quickly. Can you get multiple reflex out of one air blast? Or are they going to have to give Pyro a weapon that has really rapid-fire compression blasts that have a smaller duration of effect but much faster refire rate? I don't know, because as it stands right now, you can't possibly reflect through all of those shots. Even the Beggar's Bazooka fires shots faster than you can reflect, and you're generally going to get caught by at least 2 of the 3 rockets with the Beggar's Bazooka, even with a perfectly timed compression blast. With this gun, you've got an even lower chance of catching more than enough rockets to live. You're pretty well just screwed. Of course, when you're not rocket jumping, you have the same susceptibility to being air blasted as usual, though of course the rockets do less damage. So you've got a little bit of a better chance of surviving a compression blast, because anything compression blasted, of course, is a mini crit. With these rockets, at least, it's not going to kill you in one shot, though usually one solid compression blasted rocket will pretty much kill your target. If it doesn't, you whip out the shotgun or your flare gun or scorch shot, whatever the case may be, and finish him off that way. But I don't know what the hell that heavy was doing. He was not paying very close attention. Neither was his medic. And again, communication is key, both to avoiding spies and to keeping your heavy aware of his surroundings. All that medic needed to say was, hey, soldier off to your left. I'd have been caught. And at the same time, the pyro that didn't see me and walks up the stairs in front of me would have been made aware of my presence as well. So I'd have been cornered and trapped, and at least in that room, the ceiling is so low that I probably couldn't get much off with the airstrike parachute combo. But would it be enough to kill one pyro if he didn't get a single compression blast? Probably. If he got even a single compression blast, maybe not. Again, just random speculation. I think I made this video a little bit too long. I've run out of things to talk about. But I had recorded for like an hour, so I wanted to use those rounds and give you guys a nice solid video demonstrating this gun being utilized, hopefully to its maximum potential, or at least something approaching it. Of course, your biggest vulnerability when you're floating lazily through the air is going to be hit scan weapons and snipers. I think they're going to be the most likely to kill you under those circumstances, so you want to really try to take advantage of surprise as much as possible, because you can unload so quickly that there's not a chance of getting out of the way. It's like when you walk around a corner in a small hallway and come face to face with a spun-up heavy. You're screwed. You're not getting away from that. You know, even with the nerf that they did to make heavies fire a little bit less accurately and with less damage for the first second when they start firing, I sped this up because it was boring, you're still going to be caught in that situation. I don't know why I left that in, actually, now that I think about it. I think just to have a little bit of a sense of kind of coherency to the video, I try to show each life through to my death, so that I'm not only showing you moments of victory, I'm also showing you how you can fail. Maybe, you know, you could see my fails and avoid them yourself in the future. I was reading the patch notes today and I saw they added the ability to recharge your charge to full with the Tide Turner, the new shield for Demo Night, or half Demo Nighting, whatever the case may be. So now not only will a sword kill give you a full charge, but a bash kill will give you a full charge. So that'll be the next video I try to put together. Demo Night has never been something that really held my interest, because as soon as I run into a well-placed sentry, level 3 at least, I'm immediately of the inclination to switch to the stickies and the grenades, because they're just so effective for taking out sentries, even with a small delay for the full potency of the stickies. Like right there, you know, that guy got a couple of kills pretty easily, but it does give you a disadvantage when you're dealing with something like a soldier, even a soldier using a reduced damage weapon, because he can fire just so quickly. And I love this bit right here. You see how slowly I'm descending? I had to disable the parachute so I'd get out of the line of fire. And I lived through this with a hair of health left. I literally stopped burning at 1 health. That's pretty close. But luckily for me, I had time to run off and get this health pack. My team was all moving in pretty much simultaneously, and this is kind of what I'm talking about with this gun. It's like that pyro is nowhere near line of sight there, and still the sheer preponderance of rockets is enough to blow him away. And right here is a great example of how maneuverable this parachute is. It's the only reason I left this little after the combat moment in. It's like you can make 90-degree corners with this thing and change direction on a dime. Well, anyway, hopefully you forgive my meandering randomness. It's been a long time since I did a proper commentary. I do greatly appreciate you guys sticking around through the long duration break. I do greatly appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much, and leave a like if you liked it, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.
Living in the sunlight, loving in the moonlight.